The biggest college basketball game of the century did not disappoint. Caitlin Clark vs Angel Reese was the long-awaited rematch we've been waiting to see for a year, ever since LSU destroyed Iowa to win the title last year. Then Angel Reese made it personal. Last night in the Elite 8 of March Madness, Clark had the opportunity to get her revenge, and best believe she took it. Caitlin Clark was on another level and produced one of the greatest March Madness performances I can remember. Let's talk about it. Caitlin Clark was fresh off of a great performance in her last game with 29 points and 15 assists against Colorado. She carried her great play into this game and started off hot. It's safe to say Hailey Van Leef had a rough night ahead of her, and on the first play of the game, she stupidly goes under the screen and gets punished. Clark takes the first blood with a 3-pointer to start the game. Van Leef came down and answered back with a midi of her own, but what she didn't want was to get into a 1v1 with Caitlin Clark. She came out aggressive to score, and on the next offensive play, as you can see, easily blows by Van Leef. Reese is a little late to help, Clark beats her to the rim and finishes. As high IQ point guards do, after Clark established herself in the game as a scoring threat, she started to get her teammates involved. She fights through physical defense to get open on this play. Hailey is caught ball watching, Martin cleverly cuts at the right time, and Clark finds her with a bounce pass leading to her first assist of the game. LSU were getting cooked, so they decided to switch the matchup, but made the same mistake. On this play, the Hawkeyes run a standard pick and roll. The defender once again goes under the screen and learns the hard way that if you give Clark that much space on the perimeter, she will punish you. For the first half of the first quarter, Clark continued to look for her teammates. She found Martin for a free ball and punished LSU for not getting back quick enough in transition with a quick assist to get 2 points right back. Iowa were off to a hell of a start, but then the game started to swing the other way. LSU came out of the timeout more focused. They had some joy in the paint early on, so Angel Reese used that to her advantage and started passing out of the post to shooters on the perimeter. Clark continued to do her thing. On this play, she found the hot hand for a free, but LSU came down the floor and got that right back. The shooting from both teams early on in this game was very impressive. At this point, both teams were playing great basketball. The role players were hitting shots, and the stars weren't shying away from the occasion. But it was now time for Angel Reese to really make her mark on this game. She got her first points of the ball game on the offensive glass, and got another 2 second chance points the same way. LSU continued to exploit the physical advantage they had in the paint, and Iowa had no answer for Angel Reese. On this play, LSU dumped the ball into Reese down low. She's able to get in front of her defender, Clark comes in to help, but she's no match for Reese physically. Angel got another 2 points on this play when she was the furthest player ahead in transition. She received an outlet pass, scored. Fast forward a few seconds, and Reese intercepts an entry pass from Caitlin Clark, takes it all the way, and scores again to give LSU the lead. Caitlin Clark had started the quarter off well, but the second half of the first was all Angel Reese. And on the very next play after that, Caitlin Clark was once again careless with the basketball. Angel Reese got herself another steal, led the break, and found her teammate for an assist. LSU went on a 10-0 run to close the quarter, and their defense forced Caitlin Clark into more turnovers in the first quarter of this game than she had in the entire Sweet 16. LSU had really ramped up their defense, and Clark made just one field goal in the final 7 minutes of the first quarter. She was still playing well though. She had 11 points and 3 assists to start the game. Angel Reese was doing a bit of everything. She had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists and 2 steals. And at a time when the Tigers needed a run, Reese scored 8 straight points. And in the second quarter, LSU picked up exactly where they left off. Clark still wasn't scoring, and Angel Reese was dominating on both sides of the ball. On this play, Hailey can't stay in front of Clark. She's able to find her big under the basket for what should be a layup, but Angel Reese says no and sends her shot into the crowd. She was in the zone, talking smack, reminding everyone who the defending champ was. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. On this play in the low post, she goes to work, one dribble, left shoulder into the chest, and makes a difficult shot off the glass, looking like Zach Edey. Defensively, Angel continued to have an impact, spearheading the 10-2 run that got the Tigers back into the game. On this play, Stocky tries to go to work in the post. Reese remains disciplined, stands tall and gets a firm hand on the ball. Yet another block. At this point, everyone's screaming for Caitlin Clark to fight back. She finally ends her scoring drought on this play. The Hawkeyes have numbers forward in transition. Caitlin Clark knows maths. Threes are better than twos, so she steps into a transition three. You already know she knocked it down and made it a 1-point game. Now Clark's next offensive play was the turning point in the ball game. As you can see, Caitlin Clark goes right at Angel Reese. She makes contact with the ball and the player. The refs call the foul. Reese falls into the crowd and rolls her ankle. She gets up and immediately limps to the bench. She has to sit down and get substituted, and this changed the game. Angel Reese was having her way, and although she came back into the game, she was never the same after this point. You can see she's limping up and down the court. And what happened next was Caitlin Clark got real comfortable again. On this play, pushing the pace in transition, Clark puts the moves on Haley. She leaves her for dead with a quick behind the back. She finished the second quarter strong. At the end of the second, Clark tried to play for the last shot, and after drawing the attention of 3 players down low, she dumped it off to her centre for an easy bucket in the lane. At halftime, the score was tied. Both teams were playing well. Both of the stars were doing their thing. Caitlin had 19 points and 5 assists. But I'd honestly say Angel Reese was the most impactful player on the court in that first half. She was doing everything, scoring, rebounding, assisting, making big defensive plays. She was flirting with a 5x5. The game was there for the taking. It was going to come down to who wanted it more. And in the second half, nobody wanted it more than Caitlin Clark. She came and she took it. First play of the second half, she pulls up from NBA range and makes a statement 3. Now before you clown her defense, what is Haley supposed to do on this play? There isn't much she could do here either. She has the ball at the top of the perimeter, rejects the screen, just toys with the ball in her hands before letting another deep 3 fly from NBA range and drains it again. It doesn't stop there. They try to put somebody else on Caitlin. It doesn't matter. She races to her spot, finds space, jacks up another 3 from well beyond the arc, and you already know it's good. All of a sudden, the Hawkeyes were comfortably in front, thanks to 3 consecutive 3 balls from Caitlin Clark. On this play, she didn't care that Angel Reese was guarding her. She stepped back onto the perimeter, fired another 3, and you already know that it was good. By the way, this 3 ball right here was her 7th in the ball game, and she probably didn't even realise that with that shot, she broke the record for most career 3-pointers made in Division 1 basketball. But Caitlin wasn't just making shots, she was locked in defensively. She made a good read here to intercept the pass, and in a foot race here with Angel Reese, she has 2 options. She can either settle for a pull-up 3, or she can attack the player who's been blocking everyone's shots all night. Right here, Clark's basketball IQ was on full display. She slows down at the 3-point line as if she's gonna pull up, forcing Reese to step up out of the paint and cover her on the perimeter, which opens up the lane for her teammates to get out, receive the pass and score easily. In the third quarter, Iowa were running away with it. Angel Reese had gone cold. She'd missed 8 shots in a row. LSU as a team made just 2 of 17 field goals. Iowa were on a 15-3 run. Clark was single-handedly outscoring the whole LSU team in this quarter. Angel Reese finally broke her scoring drought. She got a touch on the ball here, then turned defense into offense on this play, showing her motor and determination to get down the floor before everyone else and finish. The Tigers started to hunt their way back into the ball game, fighting on the offensive glass and forcing the ball into the hoop by any means necessary. Iowa's clock management was pretty poor towards the end of the third. Clark made some good passes that probably should have been assists, but with the momentum swinging in LSU's favour at this point, the smart thing as the point guard that she should have done was run some patient offense and just get into the fourth quarter with a comfortable lead. By running and gunning the way they were, The Hawkeyes played right into LSU's hands and allowed them to make up some ground going into the fourth quarter. And although it wasn't the smart play to make, she got away with it because the pass was spectacular. Going into the fourth quarter, Iowa led by 11. LSU were down, but not out. And within a minute of the fourth, they cut the lead to 6 points. And that's when Caitlin Clark stepped up again. Who should have stepped up was the Tigers defense. I don't know why after 7 threes, they're still playing drop coverage. Angel Reese is a great defender, but she has to help out on the perimeter. You can't let Caitlin get to her spot and let it fly. Not in the fourth quarter of an elimination game when the game's in single digits. In fairness to Haley, she'd been getting cooked all night, but on this play there isn't much she can do. She went over the screen. At this point, Caitlin Clark had activated takeover and was unstoppable. Inbounding the ball from the baseline, Clark picks out a cutter with a perfect bounce pass for another assist, which was her 10th of the game. She could have had way more assists in this game. This play right here was a great block from Angel Reese, but one of several instances where a simple pump fake would have led to a Hawkeyes basket and another assist for Clark. This play right here with 5 minutes to go was probably the dagger before they realized it was the dagger. Haley's running around the perimeter chasing Clark's shadow. No screen is needed. She stops, sidestep, pull up, deep three, green release. Hawkeyes extend their lead back to 11. By this point, Caitlin Clark is hot. Angel Reese is cold. She'd made just one of her last 12 field goal attempts. LSU hung in there. They stretched the game out as long as they could, but never at any point after this was Iowa's lead in any jeopardy. And the play that made sure of it was right here. Clark with the give and go gets the ball back top of the key. She finds the roller with a bounce pass and one 3-point play. That was the final nail in the coffin for LSU. Especially when moments later Angel Reese fouled out. She was called for a charge on this play and she was forced to watch history unfold from the sidelines. Clark got to pad her stats a little down the stretch, got a few free throws, another assist. She even blocked a shot for the final possession of the game. The final buzzer when Iowa came out victorious, 94-87 the final score. Of the Hawkeyes' total points in this game, Clark was responsible for 43%. And that's just the points she's scored. That's not including her assists. And as Angel Reese sat there looking defeated on the bench, what we were all expecting and waiting for was Caitlin to talk some smack and give Angel Reese a taste of her own medicine. We've seen her talk trash before, but in this case, Caitlin Clark kept it classy, and rightfully so. This night was all about her. She produced a historic, record-breaking performance. She had 41 points and 12 assists. She showed no signs of fatigue despite playing the entire game. She remained efficient. Words can't describe how great she was. You just had to see it live. Take nothing away from Angel Reese. She had a great game too. 20 points, 17 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals. And who knows what she would have ended up with if she never got hurt early on. For a lot of people, this was the first time watching Caitlin Clark. I'm willing to bet a record amount of fans tuned in to watch this game, a lot of whom were wanting to see what the hype was all about. And I bet none of them were disappointed. Best believe she introduced herself to a whole new demographic of hoops fans that until this game had never seen her play, that now know she is a true superstar. But the show ain't over just yet. Caitlin Clark is going to the Final Four. She'll face off against Paige Beckers in UConn, who just defeated Juju Watkins in USC to earn their place in the Final Four. We have another heavyweight matchup awaiting us, and everyone wants to see if Caitlin Clark is going to close out her legendary college career with a national championship. It won't be easy, but best believe if anyone's up to the challenge, she is. And if that's how the movie ends, we're all going to turn out in numbers to see it. If you've made it up to this part of the video and want to see more content just like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And on that note, it's DKM signing out until next time, and peace.